Bapanada everyone. As you can probably see from the title of this video, this is a serious video with a more serious topic, more of like a discussion video, which we haven't had in a while, so you're probably not used to it anymore. If you've seen my last video, you're probably expecting a lot of jokes here, but this will be a totally jokeless video. Now we can actually get to the real topic of this video, which is the one thing Silksong can do better. The one thing Silksong can do better than Hollow Knight. This is kind of a weird question, right? Because Hollow Knight is my favorite game, you've heard me talk about it in all of my videos. It's a 10 out of 10 game, so if there is like a huge problem, why would it be my favorite game? Well, it's because of a simple thing. The problem doesn't exist anymore. Hollow Knight before the Lifeblood update. You see, I started playing Hollow Knight in June of 2018 after it dropped on Nintendo Switch. And Hollow Knight originally came out in February of 2017. Between February 2017 and April 2018, there were significant changes made to Hollow Knight. The first of which was the Hidden Dreams DLC, which just basically added 2 bosses, a few bug fixes, a few minor things. Second thing is the Lifeblood update. Okay, the Lifeblood update is quite literally the lifeblood that makes Hollow Knight almost, like, for me, perfect game it is. Like, for example, 2 DLCs launched after the Lifeblood update, the Grimm troupe and Godmaster. But even if you cut those 2 things out, Hollow Knight is just this complete experience, and the Grimm troupe and Godmaster are just like cherries on top that you can leave out if you don't like cherries, but you can dig in if you like cherries, you know what I mean? While the Lifeblood update, and also to some extent the first DLC, the Hidden Dreams DLC, do just make Hollow Knight more of a whole experience. Now, what's actually changed? And why is this update so important? I'm going to talk a lot about the hive today, and because I think it is one of the weakest areas in the game, content-wise. And before the Lifeblood update, it was definitely the weakest area. For me at least. Because, you know, some of you will say, okay, but what about fungal, but what about Fog Canyon? What about Howling Cliffs? What about the fucking Royal Waterways? What about them? Aren't those the best, the worst areas? Well, no, actually not, because they have a purpose in the game's world and they fulfill that purpose. The Howling Cliffs is a place where not much is supposed to be because it's outside of the kingdom, right? And the Fog Canyon is supposed to be this one dangerous area you have to kind of just find and wind your way through from Green Path to Fungal Wastes, to return later and actually find out that it isn't that much of a threat. And the Royal Waterways are supposed to be this scary, disgusting place. And all of these 3 areas, while I do dislike the Fog Canyon, as a player, I think in the greater sense of the story, it does all of these 3 areas actually do a great job of enriching the Kingdom of Hellnest. But now we've got the hive, okay? And the hive, in February of 2017, when Hollow Knight first launched, it was kind of a lesser area. Because, okay, imagine, the hive is an extremely hidden area in Kingdom's Edge. So hidden, in fact, that even Conifer doesn't show up in it. And you actually have to break a wall to get there, and it's the only entrance. And then you get to the hive, which is an endgame area, and there's just almost nothing there. And it's kind of weird, isn't it? I think the original Hollow Knight release would have been better if the hive had been cut out and just added in in a later update or DLC, because now we've got this huge game which is filled to the brim with content and filled to the brim with purpose, especially purpose. And I still do believe that the Hive, even after the Lifeblood update, still remained somewhat of an empty area. But before the Lifeblood update, there wasn't even a boss in the Hive, which is kind of sad, I think, and it's something that Silksong can do better, because Hollow Knight, they had a limited budget of around 150,000 Australian dollars, and of course they had to actually bring out the game at some point. They've had their idea for the Hive for a long time, but I think actually implementing it in the world was kind of an afterthought, or probably one of the last things they actually did. And by adding the Hive in this state, it kind of makes it feel unbalanced in a way, because areas like the City of Tears are such great areas, interconnected and filled with content, and of course it's supposed to be this way. City of Tears is supposed to be like the biggest, best thought out area in the game, but the Hive is just such a linear path, and there just wasn't anything really there. Now of course I have to add that this, again, is not a huge problem, but I think it's the one thing where the Hive is the one thing where Hollow Knight temporarily lost its vision on what the Hive was supposed to be. And this is something Hollow Knight does really well in all other areas, where it's like, okay, we know what this area is going to be, we know what it needs. But in the Hive it just felt unfinished, and the proof of that is that it actually got overhauled and finished in the Lifeblood update. You know, I'm not bashing on Hollow Knight here. It's definitely not what I'm doing, because Hollow Knight is one of the best games, I think, period. But at its launch, it kind of missed that last final step that made it the 10 out of 10 game that it is for me at this point in time. And of course there have been some other changes in the Lifeblood update, mostly just kind of important buffs and nerfs and bug fixes, and definitely also a lot of animations. There's been a lot of animations and sound effects added. I'm probably going to compare some of the animations and sound effects in the background so you can see it, especially with the Hive, where there were these ideas, like for example the bench in this honey droplet thing, and how the animation and everything just changed from February 2017 to April 2018. And I think the change is just really significant and just makes it feel much better overall. The Hive still remains like probably one of the emptiest areas, but it has more of a purpose now. So what can Silksong actually learn from Hollow Knight to not make this quote-unquote mistake again? Well, it's quite easy. If they plan to do DLC for Silksong, it would be best to cut off some areas that otherwise might feel unfinished and add them in the DLCs. And I feel that we are close to getting another blog post update. I actually think it's going to be this April. So yeah, I'm excited. I am very excited. And this video, it is not to be taken as like a major critique point for me, but it's such a hard topic to tackle. I hope all of you actually watch the entire video, and then we can discuss in the comments if you support my way of thinking here, or if you say, okay, that has been an entirely bullshit video topic. I think it has some merit to it, but it's up for you to decide. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you in a few days or weeks. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's been subscribing and who's been watching and liking the videos. And I hope all of you stay well during quarantine, and I'll see you later. Farewell, my fellow hive beings.